Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing products and quotients of rational expressions. This is similar to the previous video I did on simplifying rational expressions, but it involves more factoring and it's a bit harder. So the first question says x squared over x minus 1 times 2x plus 1 over x times 4x plus 2 over x minus 1 to the power of negative 1. So the first thing that I think you should do is to get rid of the to the power of negative 1 to the negative 1 part, and also simplify or factor anything. So x squared over x minus 1 is just going to be left like this, and so is 2x plus 1 over x. And the only thing we really need to change is this last part. So what I would do first is to square to both the numerator and the denominator, make them to the power of negative 1. So we have 4x plus 2 to the power of negative 1 over x minus 1 to the power of negative 1. So then we're going to rewrite this whole thing. And since it's the power of negative 1, we know that the numerator has to go to the denominator, and then the denominator has to go to the numerator. So we get x minus 1 to the power of 1, but I'm not going to write that. 4x plus 2 to the power of 1. Oh, okay, I guess we can write it, but we don't have to. Then afterwards, I'm going to simplify this 4x plus 2. So we get x squared over x minus 1 times 2x plus 1 over x times x minus 1 over, and then I'm going to factor out a2. So we get 2, and then we get 2x plus 1. Then I'm going to start simplifying this. So we have, okay, I'm going to do this in a different color to make it easier to see. So we have x minus 1 and x minus 1, so I'm going to cross that out. And we also have 2x plus 1 on both the numerator and denominator. And then we have x squared and x on the bottom. So when we subtract 2 and 1, we get x over 2 minus 1, which is x over 1. So we're left with x to the power of 1, or just x on the top. So our answer here is, we have x over 2. Yes, so that's our answer. So moving on to the next question. Okay. So the first thing we have to do is to simplify everything. So we're going to factor this part, x squared minus 5x plus 6. We get x minus 3 times x minus 2. Then we're also going to factor the bottom. And remember one of the rules when you have a squared, and then, so hold on, let me write this in a different color. So when you have a squared minus b squared, remember that you get a plus b, a minus b for this part. So in this case, we get x plus 2, x minus 2. And since we're dividing this, we're going to multiply and then switch the numerator and denominator. So we get x plus 2 over x minus 2. And then we can simplify this. So we have x minus 2 both on the top and the bottom, so we can cross those out. And we also have x plus 2 and x plus 2. And we can't cross anything else out, so we're left with x minus 3 over x minus 2. And that is the right answer. So the next question. So first we're going to factor everything. So for this part, it's the same rule as the a squared minus b squared thing we did before. So we get x squared plus y squared, x squared minus y squared. But remember, x squared minus y squared, we can also simplify that to x plus y, x minus y. So I'm going to erase this and write x plus y, x minus y over, and this might seem a bit hard, but it's not so hard because it's just like factoring. So, okay, I'll take it step by step. So, hold on. So we have 2x. So what two numbers multiply to 2x? Well, we have 2x and x. So we have, hold on, 2x and x. And here, what two numbers multiply to y? We have y and y. And then we need to make sure that these two numbers on the outside and on the inside, xy and then 2xy, we make sure these add up to 3xy, and they do, so we just need to add a positive sign here and a positive sign here, so we get positive and positive. So it's basically the same thing as normal factoring, but we just have another variable. Okay, and then we're going to multiply that by, so we can't factor 2x plus y, so we're just going to leave that the way it is. And then we can factor out an x here, so we get x squared minus y squared. But we can also factor x squared minus y squared, so I'm going to change that again to x plus y times x minus y. Then we're going to multiply this by x, and we're going to start simplifying now. So we have x plus y, x minus y, x minus y. Then we have 2x plus y, 2x plus y, and then we have an x and an x. Okay, so now we're left with x squared plus y squared over x plus y. And then you have to make sure that you can't simplify that any further. And I know a lot of people think, oh, I see the x plus y, so I'm just going to cancel those out or something. But you can't actually do that because the squared is on both the x and the y. If it were like this, then you can simplify this to x plus y. But since the squares are on individual variables, it's on the x and the y, you can't simplify this. Okay. So, next question. First we're going to factor everything. So if you remember, something cubed minus a variable cubed minus 1, this equals m minus 1, m squared plus m plus 1 over, and then here we're going to factor out the z. So we get z times z squared plus z minus 2. And then we can actually simplify that, but I'm going to do that later. Okay, then we're going to make sure that the negative 1 is on both the numerator and denominator. So we get m minus 1 to the power of negative 1 over z plus 2 to the power of negative 1 times z minus 1. And on the bottom we can factor out the z. So we can see m squared plus m plus 1. And then we're going to further factor or simplify this. So the top or the numerator is going to be the same. But the denominator, we can factor this z squared plus z minus 2. So we get z plus 2, z minus 1 times, and when it's the power of negative 1, we switch it around. So we get z plus 2 over m minus 1 times z minus 1 over z, and then we can't factor m squared plus m plus 1 further, so we're going to keep it the way it is. And then we're going to start simplifying. So we have z plus 2, z minus 1, z minus 1, m minus 1, m minus 1, m squared plus m plus 1, m squared plus m plus 1, and then we're left with this c and this c. So our answer is 1 over z squared. Okay, so that's the last problem. Thank you for watching.